Roses are red, violets are blue. Sundays are for poker, show me the money, dude. Okay, so I'm not a poet. Either way, welcome to a Valentine's Day Sunday Million. The cheesy one behind the mic is David Tuckman, and we are here today. 8,695 players took part in this tournament. 9 players remain. This is what it looked like at hand number 1. Pinkouts from the UK is our chip leader, and he's going to remain our chip leader. But RJM Grace from the UK, a big-time player, is a mover. He's back up to 5.5 million chips after a double-up. Blinds are 250,000, 500,000. And that is Bubba He with the pocket kings. Going to make it 3 times the big blind. That's 3x. RJM Grace from London, over 1.5 million in online earnings. Button folds over to the small blind, and Jay Pizzo with ace-jack of hearts has to realize that if he pushes here, it's effectively calling all in, because Bubba He is pot committed. Obviously, Bubba He going to call this. There's the call. And Jay Pizzle is way behind, about a 2-to-1 dog with the ace-jack of hearts. There's the flop. 4-4-3, nothing there for Jay Pizzle yet. Needs running hearts, running cards, or an ace. Well, now a deuce will do it as well. One time. Nope, not this time. 8 of spades on the river, and Jay Pizzle 107 from Clearwater, Minnesota is out in 9th place, $13,477 richer. 8 players remain. I think a lot of players forget that. I'm not saying Jay Pizzle did. I think a lot of players don't realize what their effective stacks are. And when they shove sometimes, they have to realize, okay, is there fold equity here or not? And obviously in that case, there was no fold equity whatsoever, regardless of what Bubba He had. Bubba He in the cutoff. Not going to make that move, though. HC Grinder from Finland. How's the Finn going to play his button? It's going to give that one up. And Kaiser in the small blind is going to raise. Makes it 1 million. Might see a 3-bet here from Pinkouts. Always interesting, those blind-on-blind battles. Seems to get so personal. Nobody ever gives their opponent credit for something. This time, though, Pinkouts is just going to call. See a flop. Jack 7-3, a couple of spades out there. Not necessarily a bad flop for Pinkouts at all. Only 1 overcard. But obviously, you're not quite sure where you're at. We know Pinkouts is not going to fold. He doesn't. Bet from Kaiser. Call from Pinkouts. Here's the turn. 5 of spades. Now, Kaiser's picked out some more outs. Any queen, any 10, any spade. And he's going to continue firing. 2.5 million this time. It's a strong semi-bluff. Any queen, any 10, any spade. Talked about that. Pinkouts, obviously, in a difficult spot. In position is the chip leader. Does not want to relinquish that, though. And also knows that if the opponent does have spades or a big jack, is likely to fire one more bullet on the river. And even if he doesn't have anything, he might fire another bullet. Pinkouts is going to pick a better spot, and it's a strong play from Kaiser, who is now second in chips with 15.6 million. And as you can peek around this table, take a look at the small blind. That's Zorro from Belgrade, Serbia. Not much of else around the table. Maybe RJM Grace makes a move on the button. Though, he's only got 11 big blinds. Not sure he wants to shove here. He's probably going to pick a better spot. Yeah, and he does. And Zorro's got to figure out, he has less than 9 big blinds. How do I double up? What's the best way to do it? He figures, you know what? I'm going to limp in, set a trap, and it might work because G-Town Eagles has king high. King high in the big blind against the small blind. Heads up here. Figures to be the best hand more often than not. He also has his opponent covered. Why not put some pressure on him? Yeah, he is going to raise, and you can't blame him. I don't mind this play at all. Unfortunately for him, he's walked into a trap. Zorro gets exactly what he wants. There's the push from Zorro. G-Town obviously pot committed. Pot now 9.3 million chips, and here it is. Jack 4-3, couple of hearts out there. G-Town's got the flush draw. Turns the ace. Set of aces for Zorro. The three of hearts no good now. And the king of diamonds definitely no good. Zorro doubles up to 9.3 million. G-Town down to just under 6 million. Moving on, still 8 players remain. We get a push under the gun from HC Grinder with the 7s. Only had about 10 big blinds. Blinds have jumped up to 300,000, 600,000, and it's decision time for RJM Grace. Ace Queen. Yeah, he's going to call off his chips, and I was curious how he would play this. Thought he would probably call off his chips. And RJM Grace has pushed all his chips in the pot. Although he has HC Grinder covered, he does not have Richie Bro covered, though. Does Richie Bro make the call with the Snowman? No, he's going to give that one up. Bubba He probably not going to make this call with a weak ace. And we'll see the Ace Queen against the pocket 7s. Pot 13.4 million. A lot of money at stake, a lot of chips at stake. Here's the flop. King 10-5, couple of clubs out there. RJM Grace has picked up a gut shot. Needs an ace, a queen, or a jack. 4 diamonds, and HC Grinder survives. Not only survives, but doubles up to 13.4 million. And RJM Grace is absolutely crippled. Under 1 big blind. Well, we've seen crazier things. He's going to shove. And I believe Zorro will probably shove behind, or at least... Well, he might shove behind. Yeah, he's going to. I was going to look at his pot size. And you look at the blinds relative to his stack. He had under 8 million chips. Blinds are 300,000, 600,000. Richie Bro is going to shove behind him, though. And RJM Grace, well, he's got a hope and a prayer. How about a 9? 9 ball, corner pocket. Let's go, buddy. Well, we've got a main pot. We've got a side pot. There are the percentages. Richie Bro has the most equity in his pot right now. But the flop will tell us all. King 9 deuce. Well, there's a 9 for RJM Grace, but unfortunately for him, Richie Bro has got the king and the flush draw, now the flush, and that's going to do it. Richie Bro eliminates 2 players in the process, wins the side pot, wins the main pot, and Richie Bro is now up to 23 million chips. RJM Grace finishes in 8th place because he had less chips than Zorro going into the hand. He earns himself $19,000. Zorro earns himself $34,780, finishes in 7th place, and 6 players remain. Now, what a flop for Richie Bro. Flops top pair with the nut flush draw. Completes the flush on the turn and eliminates 2 players in the process. Well, now that he's got the chips to play with, he is going to be aggressive. He's in the cutoff seat. Makes it 1.4 million, a little bit over 2x, maybe 2.2x. Pretty standard. HC Grinder at the King Queen. Well, if he knew what his opponent had, it's an easy play. Well, it's an easy play anyway. There's a 3-bet from HC Grinder. I know a lot of players that only like to call here. HC Grinder's 3-bet gets through. Only because if you do get 4-bet, you have to lay down that king-queen. Can put you in a tough spot. A few big hands around here. Especially considering what position they're in. Cutoff seat, HC Grinder. You imagine a raise will come in. There's the raise, 2x. Kaiser, though, on the button. Gonna call. How about a little squeeze action from pink outs? And obviously he's got a hand this time, so he's not squeezing with junk. Which is the traditional definition of it. Yeah, there's the 3-bet. You imagine that was going to happen. Makes it 3.1 million. G-Town gets out of the way. Now the only thing is if one of his opponents suspects that he is squeezing, they might play back at him. Let's see if one of these players makes a 4-bet. Of course, the issue for them is that pink outs has them covered. If you get knocked out in 6th place, you make $52,000. If you can survive till 3rd place, you make $130,000. The HC Grinder's going to give this up. And Kaiser as well. The 3-bet gets through, and Pinkout's now up to over 26 million chips.